Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Beep, beep.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagined big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, 1 family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show, coming to you from Scoreboard's Sports Grill, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Coach, let's start with LSU. Tigers' biggest game of the year against the Alabama Crimson Tide. 2-touchdown underdog. You go into the game without your quarterback on defense, linebacker Devin White. What do you tell the team heading into this game, Coach?
Well, you try to tell them they need to play their best. Don't try to do more than what they're capable of doing. Make sure assignments are taken care of. I think that's the key to the game. Alabama is a team that you got to try and force them to make mistakes. Remember, they haven't made many mistakes this year.
Correct.
So if you can force them into a couple of mistakes, it could mess with their psychic a little.
Quarterback Joe Burrow said this week, quote, "If you're scared of Alabama, then don't come out the locker room." You got to love this guy's spirit, Coach.
You got to. But the spirit I would love is Bebe Orgeron. He come out there and look Lil Nicky in the face and say, "Don't you come in my house, Lil Nicky. We're not going to have any mess from you today." In
hindsight, no one believing that this team would do anything this year may have been the best thing that could have ever happened to this team, Coach.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. All year they've been doubting this team, and they've done a good job, and they won the game, some games late. You see, when they had to, and that's the key. And I've seen sometime when the defense bend, but they didn't break, and that's the mark of a really good team.
It occurred to me today, and you and I were talking about this. You talk about how big the SEC, in particular, this game has become. We're going to witness 2 young men from halfway around the globe from the state of Hawaii. One resides in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the other in Baton Rouge, lining up on the football field for number 4 against number 1. That's got to say something, Coach.
It says all it needs to say. SEC is number 1 when it comes to football, and everybody want to come and play in the SEC if it's possible.
What do the Tigers have to do to pull out a win against a team that a lot of people think is unbeatable?
Well, they have to play mistake-free football. I think that's number 1, the key. And they have to make big plays on defense. I really think that they've got to be able to sack the quarterback a couple of times. If not intercept the ball, deflect it. They have to be able to come up with big plays in third down situations.
And particularly early in the game, if you slap Alabama in the mouth real early, keep this thing close till the third quarter, this could be real interesting, couldn't it?
I really think it is, because Alabama hadn't had to play a whole game yet. And from a psychological standpoint, that could wear them down because they didn't have to do it. You see, LSU had to play a whole bunch of games where they went right down to the wire. So they're accustomed to playing at the end of the game when the game is on the line.
And, of course, if it comes down to it, the Tigers finally have a legitimate kicker in Cole Tracy. That could be the X factor, right?
It could be. The thing is, the one thing about amateur and college athletics, you got amateur kids, and they could make mistakes. It's not like the pros where things are so equal. Things can happen and turn the table.
Well, the good news is we are not going to have to wait long to find out. When we come back, we're going to talk a little Jaguar football on The Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagine big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, one family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
My name is Dr. Ashley Blanche, chiropractic physician at Momentum Chiropractic and Sports Rehab. We are here to get you better faster if you suffer from any type of injury ranging from sprain and strain injuries to nerve pain. If you have an injury and you have a question about it or want us to evaluate you, please give us a call at 225-218-6126, or you can visit our website, mymomentumcare.com, for more information about our services.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Beep, beep.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Clarence Buggs along with the coach at Baton Rouge's newest sports grill, Scoreboards Sports Grill at 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Coach, across town, the Jaguars took on one of their most hated rivals last week in Jackson State and beat them like they caught them stealing out the collection plate at church, Coach. That was a statement win for the Jaguars.
Clarence was stealing out the collection
plate at church.
Wow,
that's how we beat them, Coach.
That's a good beating. They deserve it too. For all of the years of humility that they've placed upon Southern.
Yep.
Southern having to go play in Jackson Stadium without having the last 3 years play them at home.
Correct.
I think it's well worth it. They deserve it.
How awesome was it to see Mumford Stadium full to the brim like the Mumford Stadium of old and the place literally rocking to the jukebox?
Well, it was really, I was there. It was really a beautiful thing to see. I'm so happy that the fans came out.
Yeah.
And they need to support the Jaguar. You know, many times I've said that Southern belongs to the community.
Amen.
You cannot trade it away and go get a Jackson or a Grambling to put here. So we'll be Southern. It's worth the investment to come out and give it a chance, support it during good times and bad times.
Yep. It seems as though the Jaguars were trying to send a message like that was a statement win, Coach.
I think they were, and it was a big win. And, you know, they need to beat their next opponent, which I think is Arkansas Pine Bluff, and then they play for the championship against Grambling, Western Championship.
Right.
And then that game's become paramount of importance. But you can't look beyond Arkansas Pine Bluff. This is the thing we've got to make sure our young people don't try to do, is look to Grambling and not look at the next opponent.
Is it fair to say after that disappointing showing for homecoming against Alcorn that Dawson Odoms has this team back on track now?
I've always said I love Coach Odom. He's really a good coach, and he's done a great job of making adjustments.
Yeah.
What he did, we went to adjustment. He went to his option quarterback. That's the sign of a good coach, and he said he would. He promised the fans that he would make an adjustment.
Yeah.
So all of those people out there who don't think you have a good coach, you ought to think again, because good coaches is about making adjustment, putting this team in a situation where they can enjoy success.
A lot of people may think that because the SWAC is a smaller conference, we don't take winning and losing as seriously as other conferences do. But obviously, Jackson State hates losing to us as much as we hate losing to them, because they fired their head coach the very next day.
Well, they probably fired him that night and announced it the next day. I think that's what happened. They fired him during the game and just announced it on Sunday. But it goes to show you that how serious they do take winning. I mean, winning is important. It's more than just the football team, too. That band is important.
Oh, yeah.
And people don't know in the historical black colleges how important bands are. Just ask.
It was particularly impressive that all three phases of the team contributed greatly to the win. Naturally, the offense scoring points, but the defense and special teams also scored points in that 41-7 win.
Yeah, well, that's really a team effort at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, teams that win usually get help from all phases of the game because they're all a part of the team.
Right.
Your special team, your defense, all of those things go hand in hand.
It was also impressive to see that the administrations from these two schools get it now. They brought the bands in for an hour-long battle before the game itself started, and there's no way in Baton Rouge the boom and the box for a free concert for an hour is not going to put butts in the seats.
I agree. You see, that's why I mentioned how important the bands are to these schools.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people come and see them, and you know, it's something. It's such a great tradition, and I bet that 50 to 60% of those kids participating in both bands, probably from New Orleans.
Probably. Yeah. When we come back, we will shift gears. We went from purple and gold to blue and gold. Next, we'll go blue and gold to black and gold. That's next on The Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagine big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, one family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show, coming to you from Scoreboards Sports Grill, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill at 10655 Corsi Boulevard. Word to the wise, you got to try the Catfish Italiano. Oh, talk about awesome. And who knows, Coach, we may get to peek at a little bit of it before we get out of here today.
I think we will.
Talk about the Saints. Measure of revenge against the Vikings, team that beat them in the division championship last year on a play that Saints fans will never, ever forget. That had to be a measure of redemption, right?
Well, you say it is a measure of redemption, but it's hard to replace what happened last year because that game meant they would go to the Super Bowl, right?
Correct.
So,
Correct.
You know, it's some feelings were sore, but you can't ever go back. That's the thing. Once something has happened, you
Right.
can't go back.
And that was going to be the next question. Do you ever really get that taste out of your mouth or that thought out of your head, Coach?
Well, I've had some that was hard to get out. You know, it's tough.
Are there some that are still in there rattling around today?
Not anymore. Not anymore. Because I know there's nothing I can do with it.
Right.
So I'm way down that road now.
Ironically, Drew Brees only threw for 120 yards. Usually, that would signal a loss. But in this case, it shows that the Saints can beat you in a number of different ways. That changes a lot of things when teams are now getting ready to prepare to play the Saints, right?
Yeah, with Ingram back, they were more running oriented, you know, with Kamara. But the other thing that Drew Brees did, he didn't try to go long. He stayed with the intermediate short pass.
Right.
So he wasn't trying to beat them with the long pass because the running game was so effective.
Yeah. You know, it's been a while since the Saints have bullied other teams on the field. When all is said and done, finesse, yeah, it's got its place, but football is still, at its very core, a smash mouth affair, isn't it, Coach?
Oh, it's smash mouth at that level. Finesse teams. I go back to the Minnesota Vikings of old.
Right.
When they were a finesse team. And when they got in the Super Bowl, they got there 4 times.
Right.
But they couldn't win because they were a finesse team.
Yeah.
And they got blown off the line. So finesse teams at Miami Dolphin was one of the first teams to win that was semi-finesse.
Right.
But they were so well coached in the other phase of the game that made up for the lack of the size on the defensive line.
How important is it for the Saints right now to keep that pedal to the metal if they want home field advantage for the playoffs, Coach?
Well, you know, we're about halfway during the season. You got a lot of games to go.
Correct.
Injuries, as I mentioned last week, play such a key role
Oh, yeah.
in whether or not you're going to win the game here that you lose them in a late minute of game of play, and you can get over the hump. But, you know, if they stay healthy, there's no reason they can't go to the Super Bowl or have home field advantage.
Winning streak now makes the matchup with the undefeated Rams in the Dome absolutely just galactic in proportions. The loser of that game, what does it do to their psyche?
Well, you got your ticket for that game?
Not yet. You got some?
No, Marty might have some.
We got to get with Marty there.
Yeah. But I think that you're right. The psychic, it says a lot. You know, the Saints don't want to lose to the Rams on their home field and on their turf. You see, because again, a team that is a turf team in December and January need to play inside. They don't want to go play on the dirt field somewhere where it's sub below the zero. You know what I'm saying?
And for me, that's why I could never understand why Minnesota would build a dome, Detroit would build a dome. Teams like that, when it rolls around to December, I want you in my place, out in my yard, with my sleeves rolled up. You come out with insulated everything on. I am in your head 14 points before the ball is even kicked off to start the game.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons Green Bay and Minnesota back in the days were so, and Chicago were so successful because they played in that cold weather, and teams from warm weather areas didn't want to go over there.
Well, hopefully the Saints will keep winning, and we'll have all of them in our place come full-blown winner. When we come back, we'll wrap up this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Ashley Blanche, chiropractic physician at Momentum Chiropractic and Sports Rehab. We are here to get you better faster if you suffer from any type of injury, ranging from sprain and strain injuries to nerve pain. If you have an injury and you have a question about it or want us to evaluate you, please give us a call at 225-218-6126, or you can visit our website, mymomentumcare.com, for more information about our services.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagine big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, one family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
Welcome back for the final segment of this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show, coming to you from Scoreboard Sports Grill, not Scoreboard's Sports Bar, Sports Grill. More oriented to family entertainment. And Coach, I'm hoping that they're going to do awfully well in this location on Coursey Boulevard.
I hope so too, because they are great owners. It's a great location, and the food is outstanding.
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, before all is said and done, when you come out, the catfish Italiano, oh, it's to die for. And the pulled pork sliders, got a little football flair. That's Joe Horn's barbecue sauce that they use on it, Coach.
That's right. So it's good. His barbecue sauce was so good, they picked his over mine.
You got a sauce now?
Yeah, you didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
Only Alan knows about it.
Oh, that sauce. Okay. You know, if the Tigers pull off a win against Alabama, obviously it's going to be wild in Tiger Stadium. But I know it doesn't need to be said, but I'll say it anyway. How important is it that we celebrate in a manner like we've been there before, Coach?
Well, sometime in college athletic, they never celebrate like they've been there before. They
Right.
storm the field,
Right.
tear the goalposts down, get the school fined $100,000.
Well, in this case, it'll be $250,000
Oh,
because this will be second defense.
You know,
So it's not going to be just 100 this time around. We're talking $250K. But
You
I
know-
tell you what, I'm sure folks will step up and pay.
well, let me just say this. If they beat Alabama, storm the field, have fun. It's on me.
All right, remember, you heard it. You heard it right here. With the Jags being off this week, Coach, you know, it sure is a shame that we couldn't fill that vacancy in the schedule, because the way we're playing right now, we could have put a lot of people in the stands, and Lord knows we could use the money too, right?
Well, money is always an issue in the college athletics today, especially at your low resource institution.
Yeah.
They need money in the worst ways. That's why they have to sell games to Georgia, Tennessee, TCU. They have to sell those games in order for the athletic directors to make the budget, because all the other sports are non-revenues.
And of course, it doesn't help in our particular case when we have home games, the relatively few that we had, and we don't fill the stadium.
Well, yeah, I just think that it's an education process there. We have to educate our fans and the community how important it is. You know what? If you lose football in the North Baton Rouge community, a lot of businesses will suffer.
That's right.
And we need to understand that. So that's why I say Southern belongs to the community. You need to support it to keep it viable, and you'll benefit from it.
And at the same time, Southern University is also obligated to think outside the box in enhancing the game experience for people to make more of them want to come, right?
Oh yeah, I think you have to do that. You have to make the experience really good, because people see on TV, television have changed everything as it relates to fans. They see game day when Lou Corso and all them guys, Curb Street, them come.
Right.
People want to be a part of that.
Right.
Even if it's not on that level, but have a similarity to it.
Of course, now your first love, basketball, is kicking off now as well. How much would you like to see the Mini Dome packed the way it was back during the Ben Jobe, Avery Johnson, Bobby Fields era?
Oh, that would be nice. But how do you do it? That's the challenge.
Right.
You know, the new coach, I did see him Saturday, and he said, Coach, I need to talk with you. You and I need to meet. Well, I want to be able to talk to him and share some ideas with him because promotion is a way to do it. I tell my coaches all the time at Southern, you have to leave the campus and go into the community to let the businesses know who you are.
When did we lose our passion for basketball as Jaguars, Coach? And why don't we support it the way we should?
Clarence, that's a hard question for me to answer. It's just like why they don't come to the football games.
Right.
It's just so difficult. I don't know. It's the tickets are not that expensive.
Right.
It's very affordable. It's family oriented.
Correct.
You know, the facility is really nice and comfortable. So all the things. So whether or not, you know, I don't know why they don't come, but we've got to try and figure out how we can get them back.
When you look at what was lost 2 years ago in 2016, a lot of folks, particularly in our community, are still struggling to recover. How much do you think that plays into all of this? The fact that many of them don't have the disposable income they once had to relegate to activities like this. And as a result, we've got to give them a little extra value for their money.
I agree. We have to take that into consideration because over 100,000 homes were lost in that tragic situation. So what we've got to do is maybe discount tickets. Make a family package affordable.
Good idea.
You've got to work with them in order for them to work with you. Because, you know, where the North Baton Rouge community wasn't hit that hard, but our supporters ain't living in North Baton Rouge per se.
Right.
They were living in them homes that got flooded.
Correct. Baseball is going to be kicking off before you know it as well. The business community, local community supported you for many, many years on in. How important is it that they extend that goodwill to the new coach?
Well, the coach got to go to them. People don't usually come to you until you go to them.
Good point.
I did tell him that Saturday. He and I had a talk. You have to really go to people and let them know what your concerns and needs are.
Right.
And I think people will step up based upon what you're planning to do and give them a game plan.
Well, in that vein, my concern is that you get what you need. Some absolutely wonderful food in an absolutely awesome venue. Scoreboards, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill. Family oriented, you're gonna love it. On behalf of the crew and the man, the coach, I'm Clarence Buggs. We'll see you next week with another edition of the Roger Cador Show.